Attention, hot private. This is the War on Comics, and this time around, men, put your no ma'am caps on.
No ladies beyond this point.
I mean, I don't think we'd have much of an option, right? I don't know how the demographics of comics, podcasts or videos or whatever shake out.
I guess we should have a disclaimer on this one. This one's pretty tough.
I kind of don't believe there's women watching YouTube. It's like more of a boy thing.
It's a myth.
It's a very boy thing.
Yeah, they're all plants. Like any woman creator out there is.
I mean, making them is one thing. Watching them, it's a very It is distinctly like a boyhood experience.
You know what?
YouTube stuff in general.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I ever need to talk to the fellow. Assume if I'm addressing you, and you're watching this on YouTube.com or the app YouTube.
Yeah. It's hey guys here.
Yeah. It's what's up, dudes? Anywho, this time around, I'm being a little facetious. I'm playing around with them a little bit, ribbing them. We are at the peak Dave Sim misogyny, and air quotes, the most divorced volume of Cerebus yet.
Yes,
this is Reed's. I think there is largely considered a before and after the public perception of Cerebus with this one. So yeah, it's spicy. Look! We're talking about comics here. We're not gender studies majors.
You know, I don't know if we have 2 degrees between us. I don't know, man.
We're here to talk about the artwork, people. So stick along with us as we dissect this very complicated work and try to be as we're giving grace today. Is what we're doing.
That's right.
We're giving a whole lot of grace. 2 scoops.
Keep it hanging.
Reads. This is part 9 of 16 of the Cerebus saga. This is part 3 out of 4 of the mothers and daughters arc. This is the one where people started to notice where the undercurrents become the overcurrents, I guess we'll say. I think it's worth talking about the form on this one because it's more of, I guess in the way that it's written, you can kind of get a sense of why maybe it got so much grief. And I think the structure is fascinating to me. Daddy
Dave is playing with form again.
He is. And it is very weird reading this in the context of this being part 3 or 4 because it is so unlike the other 3. And the formatting, what he's letting you do, this is a very meta situation here because you are now reading what in the Cerebus world of Astarcion is a read. So which is kind of their version of a comic or pulp novel, probably more so comics in this case because there's 1-page illustrated, 1-page text. So there's a lot of big chunks of text here, which if you are a comic book fan, you probably hate reading. That's why you're reading a comic book. So what I think this does effectively is play with pacing in a really big way of the larger story. And I like that a lot. So almost regardless of the content of what he's writing about, I think it's a very effective way to couch the story at large. The first arc is Victor Reed?
Yes, Victor Reed.
Who is kind of his stand-in for like a sellout comics artist, ultimately, right? He's a guy who kind of gets lucky, signs a bad deal, and it's ultimately a parable of not being a creator-owned comic.
And is it Dave Sim, is it a stand-in for Dave Sim, or was it at this point, because it feels as though it's like if you know the characters that he's kind of talking about, because he pulls people from the real world.
Right.
It kind of is he talking about an experience that he saw firsthand?
Oh, well, yeah, because I mean, there was so many. I don't think it needs to be a specific person.
Mm-hmm.
The lore is, the rumor is, the tale is him and Jeff Smith from Bone really didn't get along and had differing opinions. And
Whoa.
Jeff Smith at this time went from being a self-published comic to, I think maybe even like as Bone was going, it switched hands from him to Image.
Yes.
And I think even then it went from Image to like someone else.
So when Cartoon Books was his, and then Image swooped it for a reprint after like the first arc.
Right.
And then from there, they went to fucking Scholastic, dude.
Right. So,
which I bet is like, whoa, what the fuck are these comic dudes doing in that area?
And not only comic dudes, independent comic dudes, etc. And Bone in the 90s was such, I mean, Bone and Mouse, those were like the golden children who were like kind of supposed to elevate the medium and yada, yada, yada. So I think for Sim, and I don't think it has to be Jeff Smith specifically, but I think Sim saw that them giving up their creator rights, so to speak, by getting in bed with these companies, it's funny to think of like Image as like the bad guy, you know, was basically in this parable of Victor Reed, it leads to you know, ultimately a compromise in his creativity, and his work is affected, and he gets so addicted to the money and the luxury of being someone who's in the wings of a publisher as opposed to being self-published, that the creator of it is sidelined, you know?
Yeah. Dude, by the way, my guy Gerhard fucking going in right here.
All of these, like these single images are all really
insane,
good,
man.
And I don't know, as a format, I guess you can kind of see why the Reeds that, you know, let's say like his Oscar Wilde stand-in previously was an author of, you know, you've seen Reed's authors, and now you get to read the Reeds.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, you can kind of...
we keep going layer after layer into this fucking world that is like the breadcrumbing that Dave Sim is doing. Yes. I don't know if it's even to himself, like, or the audience. I think he is just laying it out as it comes. It's one of those where it's like, is he channeling this energy or something, or is he like really just so incredibly passionate about his work?
Yeah, and conveying this world to you, the reader.
Yeah,
it's it's again from a story place. I don't know that the Victor Reed story is particularly interesting. It's sort of like, I don't know, Sim kind of just lashing out about this principle that obviously Sim is in a place to take umbrage with people who sell out in comics, because there are very few who were as maverick as Sim was. So he's within his right to call out the suckers of the world, regardless of whether it's directly one person or another.
Right. And like, this isn't coming from like, he's a nut. Let's just say it. Like, he's kind of a nut, but it's op-ed in the way that it's coming from a first-hand experience. And like, even though his thoughts are on the fringe, he still has worked through the industry and has done the work himself.
Yes, it's not
whole way through
coming from a place of ignorance.
Exactly.
And I think his perspective on comics was that it was such a personal medium. We can read Strange Death of Alex Raymond and see what he really thinks about like the power of comics. And I definitely not something I disagree with, but his perspective, and keep in mind, we're at the mid-90s now, so this is very much corporate controlled media, a pre-internet world where just having a say, and he figured out a way to convey the art he wanted to convey to the people, and it was through self-publishing comics specifically. Those two factors, the comic and the self-publishing, that he was able to find an audience and a livelihood. So he's allowed to believe in this shit and like, you know, maybe throw some shade on people who don't. And I don't know. I kind of wish he had his way too. I kind of wish like there was.
Would have seen it that way.
Yeah, in a world where you could express yourself and be rewarded, sustained by the self-publishing of it. Which, you know, I don't know. I guess you would say web comics are that now, but it's also
But
like,
that's also,
have you read a web comic that's has that level of expression? And are there web comics that can exist without that petty level of fan service where you have to have
exactly
the gamer squirrel with huge tits
for it to fucking land? The ecosystem, I don't think is built for this.
No.
Like that online, this is like people are going to comic shops actively. They're hearing about the San Diego Comic Con. It's like way more inside baseball when this is coming out, and for the people that it's probably landing for. Like these issues, I think I was telling you earlier, my uncle's buddies were into this.
Yeah.
And it's like they weren't collecting it, they were into it because they were just going to the comic shops at that time.
Right. It was a popular figure.
Hearing about this just dude that was making this comic on his own, and it's an aardvark. Has the Spawn thing happened yet?
Oh yeah. No, he's done issues of
so
Spawn.
Spawn's happened.
I think it's Spawn, wasn't it? Like pretty early on, like Spawn.
Dude, it's Spawn like 4. Yeah, it's literally like in the first before 10 for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, he's accomplished what he needs to accomplish, but the world is kind of,
and that's a fucking statement. I don't care who you are, like in any field, to be able to push your art
and to be
this way,
sustained, have an audience, etc. It's an amazing achievement and should never be underplayed. Yeah. And I guess it kind of wouldn't matter if it sucked, but this is so like accomplished.
This does not suck.
No, so pass. The framework is, so that's, again, all that editorial stuff we're saying and the stuff of the reads is breaking up this confrontation between, which is kind of teased to the last book. Mm-hmm. It kind of ends with Cifuentes Poe, Siren, Astoria, and Cerebus all squaring off in this
fucking Mount Olympus.
Yeah, with the premise kind of being that like only one will survive or something like that. And I think that's such like a, oh my God, big climactic moment that I think the real win here, regardless of the context of the reads as they were in this little segment, is that it creates such a good pacing, because all you want to do is read more comics. All you want to do is see this fight. All you want to do is see where they're going. Yeah. And you have to read all this shit to break it up.
Yeah.
You could skip it, but wouldn't you feel like such a dum-dum?
So like, I did read it.
Yes.
And I think that it's its own thing. It's its own layer within the world. So if you want to make your experience richer of Estarcion, like
you need to read it.
You have to.
And
you can't skip it.
But, and I think you're enriched, not just, reading the comics and skipping the text. I think if you read the comics and it breaks up this kind of, it's as of right now, war of words going on.
Yeah.
I think it does a good job of like teasing you. You have to eat your vegetables here. This is the vegetables, and then you want to get to the dessert of these comics.
Yeah, and like the Victor Davis lore and everything that's going on, or Victor Reed, I'm sorry. Like Mike Zuli's mentioned in here. This is super iconic to me. This is one of the first things I ever saw of Cerebus, and I thought that was perfect. Like all this, it's this story that's unfolding, like the Cerebus direct story, is feeling like he just keeps carving away at like your expectations.
Right.
Like he's like, you think it's going one way, but I don't even know if Dave Sim knows where it's going. It's like, I think these characters are literally battling it out in his brain.
Yeah, and like he's trying to figure out what to do. Because when the peacenik hippie Cifuentes Poe comes along and is kind of explaining what aardvarks do and who they are and everything.
Yes.
And it's like, is Siren, this kind of totalitarian fascist, going to let him live? Is Cerebus, this brain dead aardvark, going to do this? Is Astoria, who's kind of, I guess, would be a central lib,
walks out of the room and says, I'm making my peace with this I've like pretty much almost breaking the cycle or something, you know,
Right.
almost making it seem like they are becoming like a conscientious objector. It's a he, right?
I think.
I keep using they them because very soon we're going to see
some of the ambiguity in that regard.
exactly. And so, is there any number one, just to stay on topic on the Victor Reed stories?
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of like Jeff Smith like talk, and is it kayfabe where a lot of it is like I am feeling like, you know, embodying like the other character feels like so snarky, and is it like a little bit of like poking fun at Jeff Smith in like a friendly way, or is it really like, no, this guy sucks now?
I think there was some serious personal gripes. I've never really cracked into it. I've just kind of like heard it. It seemed very catty. If I had to really, dig into the cattiness, I would kind of say, as a comics creator, I don't see how you couldn't hate Jeff Smith at the time.
Yeah.
Because he was creating something that so transcended what comics was, and comics were so celebrated by everyone and read by
everyone.
Well,
dude,
I mean, you weren't going to be able to give bone to a weekend, what do they call it, a weekday warrior, a Wednesday warrior.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, guys who are still guys who are reading the Executioner's Song arc.
Dude, guys who are into fandom versus the actual like.
They're not medium. I mean, I wasn't buying single issues of Bone back then. It was like something that was talked about, and I was just like, that seems like it's for grown-ups, because I was 12.
Bone was like probably perfect.
Exactly, but I was just like, okay, yeah, it's like.
Was it seen as like, because I didn't experience the single issues coming out. I remember when the book came out, and like at my school they showed the whole Scholastic thing.
Right.
That was my first inkling of it. It was what cemented my love for comics, and it was the thing that made me like really respect the form.
Yeah.
But was it seen as like kind of like Blue Blood at the time?
I think it was that the Gen X thing, like, because again, if you're in middle school, like all the media and everyone is talking about this Gen X, how jaded they are, how over it they are. Don't forget, there's a good run between like Nevermind and like 9 Inch Nails Closer, right? Where it's like things are getting darker. They're not getting more fun.
It's not fun anymore. Yeah.
And if you're a kid trying to figure this stuff out, and if you're me and your mom was like listening to like Devo and Oingo Boingo, then she was listening to Guns N' Roses and Rat, and now she's listening to Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots. You're trying to figure out the world, and basically, hate, 8-Ball, any kind of like Too Much Coffee Man, Milk and Cheese. That was like, that had that like angst, and also was well done enough to where a little kid could read them. Whereas Bone, you know how it is when like, I don't know if you had like when kids start to hate Barney, it's like,
for sure,
we need to like, or like, Sonic the Hedgehog,
when you're going to school
is dark or something. Yeah, you can't be in, you have to be professionally not into kids stuff.
Everyone is like starting to be like, we got to mature now. Like there's cooler shit out there.
So again, this is not my opinion now, but I can see myself as a 12-year-old picking up Bone and seeing like a funny animal book.
Yeah.
With obviously, now of course I understand it's the best of its era, I guess. Or maybe if not best, it's like regardless of where it ranks, there's no rank for books like that. They're just top shelf.
It's exactly.
So it's like, it doesn't matter if it's better or worse than anything else. It's just elite, super ultra mega elite.
It's like when they say the S tier, A tier, like S-tier. All that shit. Like
no
S tier,
no discussion.
And everyone will say that.
Yes.
I don't think there's any real hater. Probably even Dave Sim respects the craftsmanship.
Of course.
But he's commenting from the inside.
So you're trying to pitch this very lore heavy, very craft heavy, very complicated story.
Alienating.
completely alienating, completely difficult barrier of entry, completely grown up. And now you have to contend with everyone saying that this strip that's like, what, Pogo meets Lord of the Rings, as like is heralding it as, the peak of self-published shit, when you're like, I've been doing this for decades. And like, I could see being a little miffed, I guess. And I think, I think maybe that shines through, and maybe if kind of regardless of what either of them say, because I could see Jeff Smith being, on that, like, I don't even think about you.
I mean, I love Jeff Smith, but he's kind of a diva as well.
All right, yeah,
in a sense, and like I think that those kind of personalities clash.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying, like. Because I don't think he really talks about Dave Sim, but there's a whole history with them together. They were kind of buddies.
There's every conventions you would be at. I mean, it's rare air of people who are that, and it's not like Cerebus was shit on or anything, but like
back then, it wasn't like the most. It was a cult classic before it even was like
I mean classic. They were moving units. It was all good in Cerebus land. Cerebus had a lot of props, but I think to see something like Bone come along probably stung a little bit. So whatever beef they had is whatever beef they had, and it's all speculation on my part. I haven't like read the minute to minute.
Who's got the fucking deets on that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of talking shit here.
This was fun.
Kind of speculating. It keeps cutting back to the Sandman stuff, and now we are at this point of like pure conflict. Cerebus with the sword on what has been kind of pitched as the big bad for the last few issues, and get to reading, bitch. We got fucking paragraphs to get through. No more comics fun, but it's short. Again, that's why I'm saying it's good fucking pacing. Like just that little addendum right there, and now we're at the point where this real conflict is occurring, and instead of just yapping, they're now attacking.
They broke the seal, dude.
Yes, and so now you get to
this whole section's hilarious.
What I think is a really good and a really smart use, and I keep saying pacing because
can you see the blood splatter right there?
Oh yeah, all the black in here, thick black ink, which I think it's got to be from manga or something like that, because when it comes out, it's so good, and Sim does it amazingly well, and there's not really that much violence. I think that's why I had this one dog ear, because it's just like, look at this, the black on ink. It's so good, and
it's just some fucking Musashi like Seven Samurais.
Sure, and you could glaze past this really quickly, and you could say, well, we've been shortchanged in the word count department, and I think that's where all that
the energy,
the reads part is like so good, because I should also note, I think the prose writing is very well done. I think he is a good writer, and I think it's it could be, you can get a little bit lost in the parentheticals of it all.
It can get psychobabble,
but he's I think if the writing isn't good, it's not worth getting through to get to these fights. And if the fights aren't good, and if you don't care about the characters, then you're not going to bother to read through it. But if you're this deep into the story, how can you not care and want to see this Cerebus and Siren go at it?
This is what we've been working up to this whole, even before
hard.
This is the one. This is the one you get yatted, right? This is the one you get yatted. But being on this side of the chair, reading these books, it's like you're working up to this point for like at least 4 phone books, maybe.
A lot of ink on page to get to here.
There's no drudgery. There's no like, it's just a march forward, and you're really feeling like this world just keeps getting uncovered. And then it keeps going with the narrative. Like, he keeps messing with form, but also perfecting his form. Like, it's this, like, again, there's no words on here, but this has got to be some of the best art that happened in the 90s, dude.
Yeah, you're not joking for sure. Yeah, in the world of the Liefelds and McFarlanes and all that, it's like there it is, and then if that all isn't enough, talking about being on the other side of the chair and form, now we're looking at Dave drawing the comic, and where do we go to next? But the next chunk of not reads, but we are now using Victor Davis, who is very much so just Dave Sim. He's trying to do this bit where he's talking to you, the reader, and he's like, we're going to break down the barriers of, reader and artist. And it's like, all right, I don't think that necessarily has a great effect, but again, in a pacing sense, you're reading, you're still getting something to break up this really I wouldn't say drawn out action, but like these wordless pages that
it has not been for naught.
Yes.
Like you're reading those and you are getting, like, you're slowing down, but the feast, like the visual feast that is upon you, like,
and then as once you think it can't go on anymore, boom, you're at this. Okay, I have to take a break here and tell you guys my favorite chunk of the saga, which is, this is just Dave Sim talking to us, and he's talking to Neil Gaiman, who just wrote his Books of Magic story. Gaiman is at a casual meeting or whatever it is, or function, and there's this refrain of like, do you believe in magic, that keeps coming up in these Books of Magic books. So Dave Sim, addressing Gaiman, is like, well, do you believe in magic, boy? After the mandatory Gaiman-esque cocking of the head to one side, the sucking of his lips between the teeth, and the pregnant pause, mouth theatrically agape, I told you there was these parentheticals, which bespoke imminence, something significant this way came Neil's answer. There's something there. He went on at some ellipsis-laden length, but by then Victor, Dave, had stopped listening. Neil returned the favor by not listening as Victor inquired if he felt any qualms about selling the trademark for death to a multinational corporation which had the Eye of Horus as its corporate symbol and whose vaults contained the original 16mm print of the Zapruder film, particularly in light of its recent market-shaking success with the death of Superman. For Neil, that seemed to Victor, the something was there, not here, a tapestry of crimson with the gold and blue embroidery of his creativity adorning the edge. Victor had heard recently that Neil had another baby on the way. That's fucking... I'm sorry. That's fucking... That shit...
Dude, he fucking puts you there.
Like, I don't know. To me, that's sort of the mind of Sim in a nutshell, right?
He really puts you there.
I mean, no one is thinking about Neil Gaiman, and he did have a character named Death. The trademark of Death is sold to Time Warner because of DC, who
just the absurdity of it all. That's like,
I mean, he's drawing these comparisons, and I think he knows people don't think like this, and these issues aren't issues to people, but they're very much so issues to Dave. He just sees these connections and these threads, and he doesn't even necessarily close in on it, because there's no point to that story. It's not saying.
He's just saying it. He's just saying, calling it out. Like, it's almost like a drunkle when you're like at like a family event, and you like your uncle's just off in the corner spewing random factoids about nothing.
And I guess it's, we have since seen the drunkles militarized and brainwashed. And again, that's not a talking point from any major corporation. This is just Dave Sim Minds, and he's sort of warming you up. He's telling you, here's how my brain works.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. Here's what I say to your fucking precious Neil Gaiman. And that's just a for instance, because he kind of threads it out. And again, great pacing, because you're reading those chunks with all this stuff, and you're getting taken to this kind of weird place that he's taking to, and you're wondering what the hell his point is. And then this blood-soaked, gore-soaked battle.
And then you could just kind of think, like, does it matter?
Yeah,
when
what
you're
is he?
reading it.
Where is he going? Is the
That's
question.
really where you're. Yeah, that's
And-
kind of the feeling.
And you could say that the text interferes with the art. Why do you need to have him going on these diatribes in the middle of the story? Just tell your story. And he tells you in the introduction, he's like, just don't read the text if you don't like it. So, I would warn against not reading the text. I think it's very important to read the text. And I think his point, which ultimately, all the stuff you've heard about Dave Simmons, misogyny, etc. And, he is talking about men and women, his relationship with women, which he does not think is it's not good. Ultimately, there's two arms to this. One is that to Dave, this is everything to him, this story.
It's literally the driving his creativity at this point.
And he's saying that to be in a relationship, he cannot be in a relationship and tell this story, and he needs to tell this story. And you could say that it gets into problematic territory because he kind of talks about men in relationship being kind of neutered, more or less, or just not.
Let's just say his take is very not very cowabunga to what I would say like more a not healthy relationship with the other sex is like another way that I would put it. Like,
I guess the thing is, I don't know that he's wrong. I don't know that you can achieve. There's two levels to it. One, you can't achieve greatness on your own. I do believe wholeheartedly you need to have consent in an extent in any endeavor you have. I don't care if you're opening, if you're starting a business, you need to have people agree that you should be in business and buy your product. You need consent to be able to continue what you do in greatness. If you're making art, you kind of, at some point, even if you are self-published and you are independent, if you are just making paintings and doing it all on your lonesome, you have to. Maybe we should focus on that part because it's kind of a big chunk of this philosophy. I do think you need the world to agree that you should be able to keep doing that, unless you go full, Darger, Vivian
like just
Girls
off
style,
of the rails,
which is, I don't think, sustainable. So, which kind of goes back to my point that ultimately you need people to let you agree with you that you should be able to do the thing that you're trying to do. On the other hand, I don't know of a lot of people who have done great accomplishments, like capital G great accomplishments, very, very impressive accomplishments, who have a robust social life. At some point,
that's very true.
You got to nose to the grindstone, that shit. And the people I know who have robust social lives probably have a better life than the people who have achieved capital G greatness in any field. I think if you had to choose one or the other, if you had a child and you wanted your child to go one of the other ways, you would probably want your child to have a nice grounding, be a member of the community, as opposed to be a genius locked in his room making the great thing ever, or incredible athlete or business person or whatever it is. It's a hard life being great, and I think Dave Sim is great. I think he's an incredibly accomplished artist, and he's the first person to say it's a miserable life. He has sitting behind a fucking desk
and
a long chunk of time.
It's a chosen life. He's choosing to either follow his drive, because he probably could have just fucking become some sort of jobber, sort of
for sure
middling convention guy.
I mean, he talked shit on Bill Sienkiewicz earlier, makes like references to Bill Sienkiewicz, but it's like he's at least at this point he's as good as Sienkiewicz was in the 80s, and Sienkiewicz got to really stretch, and he became. Whereas I think he was like a Neil Adams acolyte early on. I think as time went on, Sienkiewicz really was making art. Like really impressive, completely idiosyncratic
like
works.
Elektra is one of the ones that I remember.
Those multimedia joints and all the New Mutants stuff.
It was like nothing like the painted comic we saw earlier. I mean, it was literally nothing like it on the shelves.
So I don't think you have to be locked into mediocrity if you're working in the system. And Sims could have found himself in that kind of situation in some alternate world, but he wants to express himself. He wants to, create a great work, and Marvel is not going to let you do this shit in any way.
Is he going to put that same, I just don't see him putting that same amount of passion. Like, this is driven by complete passion of just like, he has something to say, has a unique point of view in the world, and like you're saying, to be truly capital G great, like it is an insulating experience.
Isolating and just, not... You're
not talking to many heads. They're not working at your level.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that I see this for him. And it's not public opinion. Whether I think it's valid or not within like evolution or like just even inner workings, I think a specific breaking point happened in his life where it caused an obsession point. There's like a pain point here that I see that is like, I just keep feeling we're going over the same details, but carving them out, and we're reworking these details. And like to me, or like the reader, I'm loving it. I want to see more of his
I think it's very honest.
Yes.
And it's as honest as any R. Crumb comic.
Yeah.
And whereas Crumb's stuff is, just like, I was jacking off to fucking Sheena of the Jungle. Jacking off. I'm jacking off right now.
Dude, it's Crumb's like outright gross.
Yeah. I think that Sim is like, maybe... Here's what if he can be honest about jacking off to fucking... I'm going to
run with this notion.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest about my shit. And it's kind of like, in a sense, confessional. Is it put him at odds at this point specifically? I don't know if we're at the issue, but he brings up this notion of the feminine void and the masculine... Well, I don't know what he calls the masculine. Thrust, an explosion... But basically kind of going back to that idea that women kind of absorb the energy around them. A very unfavorable reading of this would be that women, and he does not say that this feminine void is bound to women. He says that there are
men with
masculine women who are imbued with that masculine creativity, and there are men who are imbued with the feminine void. But I think if you're a woman and you're being told you're a void who absorbs the light around you, masculine light, maybe you stop reading Cerebus.
It doesn't sound very inviting.
Now you write some letters into Comics Journal and write some articles saying, hey, this guy's saying some fucked shit that I don't appreciate. Are they... Now, I don't know. Again, whether this needs to be discussed or not, up for discussion. I personally am, again, I like getting in his brain. I like hearing what he has to say.
It's integral to, because coming up shortly, and like this is a look into the next series, is that we are going to dive into a further layer of storytelling where I've never seen how many zigzags this dude has taken in storytelling. I've never seen it.
And I guess to me, it's like, I think this... So, geez, this is going to sound so fucking stupid. I don't care.
Let it out.
I think when I remember getting out of Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, and I said, you know what? This is great about this. You don't give people what they want. Because Force Awakens was very much so giving people what they wanted, right?
And I think Rogue short a little bit.
I'm a fan, but I understand the criticism of it. And Rogue One to me was like, this is beyond giving people what they want. It's giving people what they never thought they wanted. You never knew we wanted a story that was right led right up to the beginning of A New Hope, but then
Yeah.
they give it to you. And to me, in that sense, it's like when someone can give you something that you didn't know you wanted. And I think all of Cerebus is a big old chunk of I didn't know I wanted this. When you start reading a funny aardvark comic, it's like slapstick gags and parodies of pop culture stuff. You're not like, I want to know about the Cyrenists versus the Kevalists. Tell me more about that. You don't know you want that, and then you're reading it, and you're like, God damn, those Cyrenists were cooking.
They were shredding.
So likewise, if you have that foresight to do that and show me this world that I'm enjoying knowing about without knowing I wanted to know about, and I'm going to give you freedom to tell me your weird treatise on, women and men and arts and all that. And it's like, oh, fine, show me what's on your mind, Dave.
I'm in, yeah.
Yeah, get into it.
I think that's my argument to saying that Dave Sim is a incredible top-down S-tier storyteller, but it's a part of that where you start getting into, can you separate the art from the artist? I think if you, as a person, if you find it difficult to be able to like even give him the props or the proper flowers for this storytelling, I mean, then this really isn't the medium for you, or maybe it is. Fuck. I think it's still recording. I'm just gonna pop it. Boom. To finish my point is that to dive into some sim is you're gonna have to hang up your hang-ups or whatever, just let the man cook, take from it what you will, but there are incredible things happening here that I don't think were happening at the time.
And even as far as the like, oh, he's a raging misogynist or anything. I think another crux of his argument, and again, we're the year we are talking about this now, about 30 years from when this is written.
30 years, man.
The monopolizing, the monetizing, and the commodification of misogyny. Great time now to be a misogynist. And if you compare what he's saying here to basic level Andrew Tateism or whatever, every third world
more
out of
nuanced.
Yeah, and it's not, he is losing money by saying this, as opposed to the grifter types who are gaining money. And most of our understanding of misogyny now is tied to some kind of hustle, grift. This is not going anywhere.
No way.
He is bleeding right now. And
by the way, this is like a really cool Jack Kirby fucking throw up with the Mobius chair, basically in space. Just really telling you fuck boys like how it is right here.
Draw, motherfucker.
Yeah. But like to your point, man, I love the Harry Dean Stanton mention in here. This is I think just like a creator that's trying to find the line in a sense, or just utilizing the art to what I think it should be used like. Responsibly crafty, responsibly like creative, not but like pushing what it is to be a creator. Especially in this time.
And I think his ideas pose, just to like give like full movement here. It's not like his one of his big points is that women represent life, creation of life. Yeah. Men represent death. And his point is, with population growing, life is winning, numbers wise. And so if you're saying that life or women are running our a poor battered minority, he's like, well, then why are they winning?
Right.
And why is life winning?
It's in his head. He's trying to add up these numbers. Well, yeah, I like that. To me, it's just he's also closed off,
Yeah, like, it's kind of a stupid point, but it's also not like. And that's why you need to just have babies and stay in the kitchen. It's not like a cliche.
It's not a solution. He's not trying to find a solution. He's like, maybe like, he's thinking about it. He's really like, even though he does have this kind of not so flattering point of view of women in general, he has like a reverence for women. Throughout the book, there's like this weird kind of reverence and respect for their power.
And yeah, he's kind of respected generally as like creating some of the most fleshed out characters, I guess you would say, female characters. And again, this is peak late. This is like Lady Death is coming out, you know.
Yeah.
And 5 years before that, he was doing Jakar's story, you know.
Damn.
So like, if we're talking, you know, misogyny, objectification, yada yada, like he has funny ideas.
It is like this. He calls himself out sometimes. There's some things that he knows, like whatever, to use like terminology from modern age. He recognizes that his ideas are toxic in some ways of thinking, but he's also an artist who is using his brain in just the way I think an artist should. Loose, let it go, let it like create in front of you. He's got the power. Like, this is height of his powers, I think, in this one and in the next book. I don't agree with a lot of the points that he's got going on, but damn, does he have the fucking chops to tell a story.
Yeah, and I mean, something he says in here that I couldn't really find, I think I lost the bookmark on it earlier, but he says he talks about the amount of time he spends in Astarcion, the Cerebus world, meaning the amount of time he draws, versus the amount of time in the real world. And he's like, I'm more in this world than I am in the real world. This means a lot to me. You know, this is like, we can't really talk about reality as something separate from this world that I live in.
Yeah.
Now, you know, with all this, you know, ire that got sent his way from this comic and everything, the cartoonist kayfabe guys kind of cut through the bullshit at one point and are just like, yeah, man, if you draw this much, you're going to go crazy. And that's what happened to Dave. He just went crazy. And it's like, on one hand, maybe dismissive, but on the other, maybe a little more accurate than this like serpentine idea of like honesty and art and yada yada that we're doing. That is a very real possibility, and that's from the mouths of respected professionals,
of people in the industry that did that shit.
Yes. So when they say that Dave just drew too much and was too isolated and went too nuts, maybe there's some weight to what they're saying. And this is like we'll wrap this up in
let's see if we can
Midsummer Night's Dream, right? What is it? Puck comes out at the end of the play after everyone's done these things, like, hey, if you read anything that offended you, it's all just a dream. You can forget it all and pass it by. So it's like, you know, if you read this where Dave Sim's at, and you're just like, I can't, like, it offends you so much and it hurts you and it speaks against you and you can't stand it, just like,
it's not real.
It's just a chunk of text in a funny book. You know, you don't got to run with it. And I don't know, maybe don't let that, and especially don't let what people tell you that he's read. Read it yourself. And I can't stand how, you know, people are just like, oh yeah, I heard ... It's like, motherfucker, crack the thing open.
Yeah.
Read it. Form your own fucking opinions.
And just be fucking adventurous, like, with with what you consume. Don't like let the fucking algorithm give you what you want.
Damn, we're getting into the algorithm.
I know, like, we're shaking our
Go
fucking
off, King.
I like with this digital Sabbath thing, like, I think we are reaching this point where all of our algorithms are now falling to just that bell curve. It's sticking directly to the most midpoint. So anything that is going to be recommended to you is going to be maybe it's pretty good by some standards, but it's still very middle of the road shit. And I feel like if you value your time, you're going to look for shit that's cool, that resonates with you. And you can't do that without reading shit that makes you uncomfortable and trying to find. I mean, we've read some gnar shit on this before.
Yes.
not that I'm going to go back and read it, but now it reshaped how I take in books and media. Like it's just like you don't find that shit out about yourself, that ugliness, unless you face it. So
damn, I love this.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, you just smoked my fuck shit. I thought I was cooking. I thought I had some Shakespeare. No,
man, you fired me up.
I love it. All right, shall we send these troops home?
Fuck yeah! I think with this one reads, we fucking read it to death. On to next week, I guess.
There we go. We'll see you next time.